Greetings, everyone. I want to talk about the upcoming partial lunar eclipse on October 28th. As I'm recording this for you, I am preparing to leave for Egypt tomorrow, where I will be co-facilitating a trip to the ancient sacred sites there, culminating in a private ceremony in the Great Pyramid on the evening of the lunar eclipse. It is my hope that at that time, the ceremony that we do there can be our effort, our contribution to supporting sending out healing energy around the globe, to support us in this profound transition time where we're going through the death of the old paradigms and preparing to birth into the Aquarian paradigms. So I encourage you to, if you're interested, to tune in during that time that we're in the Great Pyramid, be a part of that ceremony with us. Use the healing meditation that I put out before, or your own meditation, to be supporting our joining together as a community around the globe to activate the earth energies. Remember, the Great Pyramid is at an intersection of two powerful earth energy lines. And it's also thought that the Great Pyramid really attunes to the core of the earth, and I think can support the emanating of powerful healing transformational energies to be supporting us in this time of intense change on the planet. So we will be in the Great Pyramid from 5 to 7 p.m. Egypt time. So check when that might be in your schedule. Join us if you can to be a part of this healing ceremony for our healing as a global community, to be able to come back into balance, into peace, into the energy of love and collaboration and community, to together be co-creating this new world that we're capable of creating together. I also appreciate any support that you send to us for our safety during that time, and let us all continue to send healing energy to those in Palestine, those in Israel, to support the healing of that conflict, the resolution of that in a peaceful way, so that it does not continue to reactivate the trauma of that land that goes back hundreds of years. I think we're seeing in the hotspots around the globe the intensification of the collective trauma that we carry, that we're needing to heal. And I think this lunar eclipse is powerfully supporting us in that healing process. And let me show you the chart. In that I will be in Egypt at the time of the lunar eclipse, I'm showing you the full moon lunar eclipse as it will be in Cairo, and it will be, the moon will be very high in the sky at the time of the full eclipse. This is a powerful eclipse that is following the intense and powerful annular solar eclipse that we had on October 14th. We continue to experience the powerful square of Pluto and the lunar nodes. And remember that Pluto went direct October 12th and will be moving direct through these final degrees of Capricorn until January 22nd, 2024, when it moves back into Aquarius. It will be in Aquarius then until September 2024, when it moves back into the final degrees of Capricorn one more time, until at the end of November 2024, Pluto moves fully into Aquarius and then will stay there. So as Pluto has gone direct now in these final degrees of Capricorn, it is the final phase of the deconstruction of the systems and structures that are out of balance, that are needing to die in order for us to move into the new paradigms, the new forms. So I think we're seeing an intensification of the deconstruction of these paradigms, but we're also seeing the backlash effect as those who are invested in the power and the systems of the past are trying to hang on to that power and control. And again, the paradigms that we're releasing are the paradigms that are about the dominator model that we've lived in this patriarchal period for the last 4,000 to 5,000 years. We are deconstructing the paradigms that are about abuse of power and power over and conquest. We are living with the collective trauma of that paradigm and how it's played out across these last 5,000 years. And as we're in this profound square of Pluto with the lunar nodes, calling us back into balance, into justice, into right relationship, to move in new directions, into new forms, we are seeing the shadow side of these paradigms of the past playing out in a very accelerated, intense way. But remember, it is to clear them, to support us in healing and releasing those patterns in order to be able to move into the patterns of the Aquarian age that are about love, justice, collaboration, how we can honor and respect each other in our diversity and come into unity together. It is significant that at the time of this full moon, partial lunar eclipse, the sun will be at 5 degrees of Scorpio and the moon will be at 5 degrees of Taurus. And we will also have not only the sun in Scorpio, but Mercury and Mars as well. And I do believe that the sign of Scorpio calls us to dive into the depths of who we are, to see what's in the shadows, what's been held in the unconscious. Scorpio is the sign that is associated with our trauma. We are being supported to bring the light of consciousness into the trauma and the ways in which we carry that trauma in our thoughts, Mercury, and in our actions, Mars. And as we can bring that trauma to the light of consciousness, then the moon in Taurus next to Jupiter can support us in coming more fully into our bodies in a new way, Jupiter and Taurus, new forms that are integrating our emotions in a healing way. But it is about our being embodied, working through that trauma emotionally and physically to be able to move through this transformation into new forms. Remember also that Arizona continues to be conjunct the North Node, and now Chiron is close by. So it's again reminding us that this is a time for healing our sense of self and healing the imbalances in the Aries energy that we've continued to carry into this age and need to clear in order to move into the Aquarian age. But Arizona conjunct the North Node is supporting us in moving in new creative directions. Remember that a lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and moon are in alignment. And what we're experiencing is the sun and moon are opposite each other in the sky, and the earth is between them such that the earth's shadow falls across the face of the moon at the time of the eclipse. What we are experiencing is our shadow blocking the full light of the sun from illuminating the moon. Remember that the moon represents what we're dealing with emotionally, and it represents our embodiment, our experience here in our human form, our experience here in an incarnated way. So think about that metaphorically and know that from my perspective, lunar eclipses are calling us into deeper emotional awareness. They're guiding us to look at what is in our own shadow selves that we need to see, and need to see how those aspects of ourselves are blocking the light of consciousness from supporting us in being in our full illumination. So I really encourage you at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse, meditate on what are the shadow aspects of yourself. What are the traumas from the past that are constricting you or blocking you from being fully in your authentic self, in your true gifts? What is it that you're needing to bring into the light of consciousness to clear, to be able to fully shine in the fullness of who you are? So allow yourself to meditate and tune in and open to what may be coming up for you emotionally, what may be coming up in terms of memories from the past or past trauma that's needing to clear and heal. As we can do this individually, we support the healing in the collective. I remember being profoundly moved hearing Thich Nhat Hanh, who was the Buddhist monk in the midst of the turmoil of the Vietnam War. And he came and spoke and said, if you want to stop the war in the world, heal the war that is within your own heart. I do believe this lunar eclipse is supporting us in doing the healing that we need to do so that we can support the healing of the world. It is extraordinary that the meaning of the degree of the full moon, the Sabian symbol, and this is from James Burgess's site of the interpretation of the Sabian symbols, and I'll include that link below. But this is the meaning of the degree of this full moon at the time of the eclipse. It's about a bridge being built across a gorge. How we build bridges to end separation, to be agents of hope. How we can build bridges across the great divide to support our moving beyond separation, back into connection, back into peace and unity with each other. In a profound way, this eclipse is a wake-up call for us individually and collectively. Where are we caught in polarization? Where are we caught in trauma? And when we're caught in trauma, we tend to either get pulled into situations that reenact our trauma, or we become a perpetrator and inflict that trauma on others. This is what we're seeing playing out around the globe in these places where we're seeing the eruption of war and violence, whether we're talking about the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, Syria, Sudan. The trauma reverberates around the globe where we haven't healed, so we keep perpetuating that trauma and suffering and pain on each other and get caught in that polarization. It's time to heal. Let me show you another aspect that I think is important in this eclipse. When you add in some of the centaurs and Kuiper belt objects, what we see is that Isis, as I described at the time of the solar eclipse, is still conjunct the South Node, supporting us with that healing energy of the Great Mother who helps us heal from trauma and put the pieces of ourselves back together again in order to restore us and revive us and guide us into our healing and wholeness. We still have Haumea, now close to the South Node, but in Scorpio, conjunct the Sun. Again, that energy of a creation deity supporting us in our regeneration process. But the other point that's very significant at the time of this full moon lunar eclipse is Chariklo is squaring the sun and moon. Remember, Chariklo is that energy of compassion, the capacity to hold healing space for those who are in pain or for those who are suffering, to bring that energy of love and compassion to support the healing that needs to occur. So at the time of this lunar eclipse, Chariklo is supporting us individually and collectively to feel held in compassion, to be able to heal. And as we are working to be agents of hope, agents of healing in the world in this time, when we see the enactment of collective trauma, let us take on and emanate that energy of Chariklo, to send compassion, to send healing energy, to hold space, to hear each other, be with and for each other, to support the healing individually and collectively around the globe. And let me show you where the moon is in the sky at the time of this eclipse. So while the moon is in the sign of Taurus, in the sky at the time of the eclipse, the moon will be close to the stars of Cetus, and the moon, Jupiter, and Uranus are in this part of the sky that I talk about a lot, that is called in the stare of Cetus, where you have Perseus the warrior, Cetus the whale. And I see this as a part of the sky that is speaking to the polarization between the warrior paradigm, the power over paradigm, Perseus, and Cetus, the energy of the sacred feminine, of our origins, of creation, of our deep emotions. And we've been in this conflict between the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine across the last 5,000 years. And we've been in this paradigm of the idealization of the warrior, of being in control, of having power over, and using violence, destructive conquest in an effort to ensure our safety and security and control. And I think with the moon, Jupiter, and Uranus now all in that part of the sky, they are helping us look at how this trauma has played out in an emotional and an embodied way. Moon, how Uranus is guiding us to see the clarity of the destructiveness of this polarization and helping us shift out of it and into justice and truth and our interconnectedness. And Jupiter is supporting us in having the faith that we can be in this process of transformation. To, again, with the meaning of this full moon, build a bridge across the gorge, build a bridge across the great divide, to end separation and to be agents of healing and hope in the world. As Pluto is in these final degrees of Capricorn, as we see the ramping up of violence, trauma, the acceleration of the shadow aspects of this dominator paradigm that we've been in for 5,000 years. Remember that we can be agents of healing and hope as we hold the larger perspective that this is the deconstruction of these old paradigms, the death of the old ways of being, the bringing out of the shadow these aspects of our trauma and of our being out of balance with each other and with the earth. Then we can see and remember that this is a journey of healing and transformation into these new forms. Moon in Taurus, conjunct Jupiter, helping us to have faith and trust that we can clear the trauma within ourselves to support the clearing of the trauma in the collective. As we work with the powerful energies of this partial lunar eclipse, know that a lot of feelings may be coming up for you as we experience this polarity of the sun in Scorpio opposite the moon in Taurus. Hold with compassion whatever you're feeling. Allow yourself to trace the roots of that, to explore what is the trauma that may be coming from. As we can get to the roots of that trauma and hold that with that Cheroklo compassion, the capacity with our witness self to see and hear and feel what that traumatized part of us has experienced, then we can heal and release it and move into wholeness. And I think in this profound time with this eclipse, it's important that we be that Cheroklo energy with and for each other, that we hold space for each other to express what we're feeling, to connect to the pain from the past, to be able to release it and heal, and that we be those Cheroklos for the collective, that as we heal our own wounds, we have the capacity then to emanate that healing energy and hold that space in the collective consciousness for the suffering in the collective to heal. We will not solve the collective trauma through power over, reactivity, violence, military action. We will only heal and clear the collective trauma by building bridges across the gorge, by daring to build those bridges that end separation and division and polarization and open a pathway for true healing, for the capacity for us to truly see and hear each other, and together commit to the healing of the trauma from the past in order to move into these new paradigms and co-create a world that is about truth and justice and love and mercy and compassion and mutual respect, and allowing our diversity and knowing that within that diversity, we are a part of the oneness of all that is. Thank you for your being a part of this community, for your commitment to your own healing journey, for being a part of the commitment to building the bridges of hope and healing in the world, for carrying the Cheroklo energy for each other and for the globe and for all who are suffering around the world. And again, if it feels right to you, join in with our ceremony at the time of the lunar eclipse, as our small group will be in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, attuning to the energies of the earth and sky, opening to the love and healing energies of cosmic consciousness to support that in emanating around the globe. Blessings and love to all of you.